was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway.
Stories The Path of Destiny takes place in a world filled with anthropomorphic animals where an evil emperor is trying to conquer the realm. Entrusted with a magical book, Reynaldo sets off on a quest to save the kingdom. It's a generic enough plot, but it gives the premise a twist by introducing time travel. At the end of each chapter, a choice is given, which will affect the story. Should Reynaldo save his friend or look for a magical weapon to defeat the Empire? That's just one example. Unfortunately, most of the paths are too similar, deflating an otherwise good concept. That, and by the time players figure out the true path, that ending's weight will be deflated due to exhaustion. Combat implements a countering system similar to Assassin's Creed or the Batman Arkham series. When fighting, an exclamation point will appear above an enemy's head, signaling the player to strike. Aside from slashing at enemies, Reynaldo can grab and push them back with his hands or summon a grappling hook to pull them closer. Defeating enemies earns experience, which then translate into ability points. The skill trees aren't complex, but they do help flesh out Reynaldo's moves, making encounters feel more fluid as time goes on. Going back to Reynaldo's weapon, he has the ability to create 4 swords: healing, wind, fire, and water. The water, for example, can freeze enemies when activated. The healing, obviously, heals them. Each blade also acts as a key to open color-coded gates that hide jewels that can be placed inside his gauntlet. These gems boost stats, and they level up by collecting the same type up to 3 levels. And on collecting, the blades are all forged by gathering elemental materials and ore. The problem with this system is that it's far too easy to complete in the main game's narrative. See, there are 4 truths that will unlock the main story path. In order to find these truths, players have to navigate through choices repeatedly until they solve it. Clues will give context to which routes to take, but they're also not exactly clear at times either. Retracing the same maps over 5 chapters again and again gets monotonous. The overwhelming possibilities felt like unnecessary padding to elongate the game's otherwise short narrative. Plus, leveling up Reynaldo gets harder and the aforementioned crafting gets completed too fast, halting that sense of progression really. Collecting ore past a certain point just feels like it's just wasted. If you couldn't tell by the video, this game is gorgeous. The breathtaking scenery and use of cel shading will make it stand the test of time in the same way Wind Waker has, aka the best 3D Zelda. That said, it doesn't perform well on the PS4. I got stuck in environments multiple times, or into areas that weren't loaded properly, and it actually ignored choices at times, negating previous commitments. Now, these issues didn't necessarily ruin the game, but they made the act of backtracking through the narrative more frustrating when I had to repeat areas after having to repeat them already for the storing. It was a monotonous loop that kind of drove me to the point of tears at some points. Stories The Path of Destinies, despite some minor issues, is a treasure. The narrative may falter, and there's definitely a sense of repetitiveness, but the beautiful look and fluid combat make it stand above its flaws. It could have been better, sure, but it's a great testament to what small companies can do.